Hello, welcome. Whether you're in business or you have a career or you're in sales, storytelling is a great way to share an idea, get other people enrolled in it, and create a lasting, memorable message. Like it or not, whether you know it, you're in sales. Everyone's in sales. We sell our ideas all the time, whether that's a product or service, or selling where you'd want to go to dinner, or what color you want to paint your wall. We have ideas in our mind. We want other people to buy in. We need to sell those ideas. We also want to share lessons we've learned with other people, whether our team members, our clients, or our kids. So, stories are a powerful way where you can communicate your ideas effectively and they're memorable. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 powerful exercises to improve your storytelling skills. As they say, facts tell, stories sell. Now, when I first started my career as a speaker, I didn't have the fear that some people had of getting in front of an audience and communicating or doing a speech. See, I played in a band, I played in front of audiences all the time. I was comfortable with getting in front of people and presenting. However, there's a difference between playing a guitar and jumping around, playing rock and roll, and communicating ideas clearly in a way that is effective to get your message across, to influence and persuade people to take new actions so they can achieve new results. What I learned is I needed to work on my communication skills, and I joined Toastmasters International. Toastmasters is a group that helps people develop their communication and leadership skills. They give you a set of speeches that you are to craft, present in front of an audience, and then they give you feedback on what you could do to improve your speech. The first speech is really easy. You just get up in front of the room and talk about your background, where you grew up, your family, your interests. It's called the icebreaker. It's really easy. Now, I did the icebreaker so well that I was overconfident coming into my second speech, which was to organize your speech. I can remember the day like it was yesterday. It was in an office setting, the big long table, not the most uh, elusive or attractive fluorescent lighting, not the greatest. It's kind of an old space. They had the wooden panels around, and people were coming in after work, a little bit tired because it was in the evening, but everyone was there to support each other grow as a speaker. Now I come in and I'm cool and confident because I'm not afraid of speaking in front of crowds. I get up in front of everyone to give my presentation, and I did something different this time. I tried to memorize my speech line by line, word for word. And unless you're a really, really, really seasoned pro, don't even try that. You should learn your points and then speak to your points. So I got up there, all thinking I knew what I was doing, started giving my speech, and then my thoughts that were there just went poof, they were gone. And then I must have looked like a deer in headlights as I couldn't find my train of thought. It went choo choo down the way. I felt my heart starting to beat a little heavier. Oh my God, what happened to my mouth? My tongue is getting so big. My mouth was drying out, feeling like the desert in the Sahara. I'm looking around at everyone. They're giving me these blank stares, like, what is going on with this guy? I'm like, talking about something I even know in my presentation. But because I lost my train of thought, choo choo, completely lost it. I learned even if you know how to talk to people, even if you can communicate relatively well, if you want to get really good at something, you've got to practice. You've got to get feedback. You've got to put in the reps and the exercises. So now to get to those speech storytelling exercises. Now, I'm working on a presentation that's coming up for a conference, and I'm going to be telling more stories than I typically do. See, I've gotten caught in the trap of over explaining, not telling enough story. So here are the storytelling techniques that I'm going to be practicing and I'll be sharing. Put them to use, and I'd love to hear if you have a storytelling exercise that you use that works for you or your feedback in the comments. So, the first storytelling exercise is to use visual inspiration. And we want to practice crafting stories from visual cues. You choose a random image or photograph and then write a short story inspired by it. Focus on describing the scene, imagining the backstory of the characters in the picture, or pretending what happens next. This exercise hones descriptive skills and the ability to create narratives from visual information. So you don't even need to have the story here. You're simply taking a picture and you're speaking to it. It's pretty effective. Give that a shot. So, number two, the 60, 30, and 15-second method. Now, I've got a speaking coach and they've given me this assignment. And the thought is you think of a story that came from your background, personal story, and you tell it. You try to keep it to 60 seconds, which is pretty quick for telling a story. But then after you get the 60-second version done, you narrow it down, you tighten it up, and tell it in 30 seconds. And then when you think, wow, that was pretty hard to tell that story in 30 seconds, you squeeze it even more tighter and you tell it in 15 seconds. So what you're doing there is you're getting down to those root elements of the story. Sometimes it's helpful to get descriptive and to tell additional details, but you've all probably heard someone telling a story that was long-winded and you're like, all right, get on with it. So if you can get down to the root essence of that story in a short amount of time and communicate it effectively, that can be really powerful. And you'll see some of the great keynote speakers, they can rattle off story after story. And then bonus ninja tip is they relate that story to their topic. So if you have a story, you don't want to just throw in a story for the sake of it, just because it's funny or just because it's inspiring. You want to really tie it back into your topic, and that takes practice too. So last but not least, number 3, storytelling exercises to improve your storytelling skills is sensory stories. And this helps us to enrich the narratives with sensory details. So write a short story that focuses on engaging all the 5 senses. Your sight, what do you see? Sound, what do you hear? Smell, what do you smell? Taste, describe the taste, and touch. This practice encourages the inclusion of detailed descriptions that brings a story to life, making it more immersive for the listener. In Toastmasters, there's a technique that we have when we're doing an evaluation, a critique. It's to share what we saw, what we heard, and what we felt. And so if you're writing a story, you're wanting to communicate a message, you can think of that. As you know, a lot of communication happens through visuals. So what do you want people to see when you're communicating that story? If you're telling a story that's sad and you want to leave an impression, having a smile on your face and looking all bright and fuzzy may not be the best way to communicate that tone. What do people hear? If you're excited about something, sound excited about it. Genuinely, don't make it feel forced, but feel like you're excited about it. I'm excited that we're here now. Doesn't have the same tone, right? And then what do people feel? What is your message? What do you want to make people feel when you're telling your story? A lot of the times we're telling a story to make a point or to inspire someone to take a new action. And we want to craft a story with the intention of making them feel something so they act upon it, whether that's feeling inspired, feeling angry, or feeling entertained. If we can pay attention to what we want people to see, hear, and feel, craft a story, and deliver it right, that's how you can be a really great storyteller. So, those are three exercises that you could use: the visual inspiration, the 60-30-15, and the sensory stories. Again, if you have a technique to improve your storytelling skills, I'd love to hear it. If you have a comment, I'd love to hear that as well. And sharing is caring, so shares, likes, and all that jazz are welcomed. Thank you so much. Appreciate your support. Until next time, keep on amplifying.